Mike Duncan has company. It's that Halloween painted Joe Gibbs Performance Oil, number 20 of Joey Logano from Middletown, Connecticut. Middletown's that part of Connecticut where 2/3 of the people cheer for the Red Sox and 1/3 for the Yankees. The Sox won tonight 12-2 as we edge closer to the World Series on Fox. I wonder if that means good things for the East drivers here tonight. Not if Mike Duncan has anything to say about it.
I tell you, Duncan is a smart cookie. He used a slow car there to put a pick on the 20 car of Logano. Logano had a run on him and could have gotten by, but he pinned him in behind a slow car, boxed him.
Peyton Sellers has fallen back to 5th place and away from this scrap for the lead. Got a little boxed up there in traffic, and I think he's just decided to ride this one out. We've got 52 laps to go to the next break.
Well, that 16 car is backsliding sideways again, and here he comes.
And here comes Logano on the bottom, and I just got a look at his right front brake. It is cherry red, glowing. Logano using a lot of brake in that number 20 car on the bottom. There it is, cherry red.
When you go on the bottom like that, Doc, you got to blow the car up getting in. That way you get a good run up off the corner. So you got to use a lot of brake to get her slowed down getting in. And he's driving it real hard down into the turn.
Well, he better, because here comes Eichler.
That car is backsliding sideways. She's looking good now.
So it's a three-way fight for the lead. Duncan, Logano, and Eichler.
And the thing I like about the 16 car of Eichler, he can run the bottom and maintain a pretty good pace.
Ralph?
Mike, the problem is it took him 50 laps to get the car absolutely perfect, which is where it is right now. Remember, they're only going to have a 50-lap run. As you watch these three cars, everybody's brakes are cherry red except for Eichler's. His car is just working beautifully through the entrance and the middle section of the corners right now.
And Ralph, I know we make a big deal out of glowing red brakes. They do it in the Cups. They do it all the time. These brakes today are made to do that.
Trouble ahead, Darrell. Look at that pack of lapped cars ahead of the leaders. That's going to be a tough one to weave through because those fellas are racing hard at it and trying hard to stay on the lead lap. What will Duncan do here? Oh boy.
I like Eichler because he seems to really do the bottom and be able to maintain a good speed and not lose a lot of time. Watch him right here, Mike. All the way on the white line, powers down in there, and then it's got good. He can really get up off the corner. That's a pretty powerful move right there. There he goes.
Yeah. Plus that top lane is going to fill up in front of Mike Duncan.
Well, you go where they're not. And look, I mean, it paid off for him. Watch him dive bomb to the bottom when he needs to.
And Logano with him.
That's where they really helped that car getting into the corner. Still a little bit dicey getting off, but man, it really helped it getting in, whatever they did to it.
So Duncan winds up third as a result of all that traffic. From first.
Well, what they tell the lap cars, they don't tell them go to the bottom or the top. They tell them hold your line and let the leader find his way around you.
On this racetrack, that's exactly what you have to do. I mean, they're really the top's probably the most preferred line, but really, truly, you can run anywhere you want to.
Well, it's the witching hour. It's midnight on the East Coast. So welcome to Sunday.
After midnight, we're going to let it all hang out.
I think they've been doing that behind the wheel of these race cars. Duncan is still mired in traffic.
That's a problem when you have a car that'll only run one lane. I mean, he's been pretty...
Trouble turn one. Hard hit into the barrier that protects the entrance to the garage area, and that is Moses Smith.
My, he knocked the fire out of that.
Sure did.
Lap 158. That's the 5th caution of the night, not counting the comp yellow.
Good to see it moving around in there.
Wow, he hit hard. Right where Eric Harden hit last year.
Yeah.
Same spot, same amount of damage to the foam blocks and the tires that are stacked there and cabled together.
They've done a really nice job of protecting the end of that wall with all that foam and the tires and everything. That could have been very serious.
So let's ride along and see what happened.
Oh, yeah. You know, I heard something pop, like maybe he blew a right front tire.
And he hooked it here in the front straightaway.
I think he blew a right front tire. And when he did, maybe he got hit from behind.
can see he's okay. Taking a minute here to get unstrapped and climb out.
See if we can look at this again and listen for the tire to pop. And then apparently either the car just took a right-hand turn or he got tagged.
And there was some noise there, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think he popped the right front and got it in the wall. And maybe they couldn't steer the car and it just tried to go through that opening into the garage back there.
So they're going to have to bake this cake of styrofoam blocks once again, as we saw last year. So we're under the red flag. Eichler in the 16, green flag.
The even restart there in the 16 and get a big jump, but watch him dive to the bottom. Logano to the top. And Logano is going to come off with a little more momentum. And into the lead he goes momentarily.
Kovaluk on the outside, and that 40 is in the lane he likes best here.
So he's up for third.
Cars, they tighten him up. And what happens, folks, when you tighten a car up? It's just a little slow on the restarts. Take a few laps to get some heat in the tires. Then the car comes around and frees up, and he's able to run a little better.
I think for these next 37 laps, he's going to need to run a lot better if he's going to catch and have a shot to pass Joey Logano, because Logano is headed away from the field, I think.
Well, we've seen that 20 car in other events this year. Once he gets out front, he's pretty hard to handle.
Still a lot of 3 wide mid-pack.
Got that right.
Everybody scrambling. That's Mike Olson on the bottom, 61. Mike David leading that group in the number 2. This race is for 9th place.
It's just amazing how nice everybody is to each other right now. Yeah, I'll let you in right now. Okay, yeah. You go ahead. I'll give you a little room.
That'll go away in a while.
No.
Won't be long either. Mike Olson in that number 61 car has come back from the back of the pack. He's right now in the 12th spot.
Yep, he and Mike David, the 2 yellow cars, started in the back row due to repairs after qualifying, and have worked their way up to right around 10th place.
I'll tell you, that 20 car with Logano on board, that thing is it's about like that 44 did at the beginning of the race. When Case was pulling away and running off and leaving everybody. Very similar.
He's had quite a year, Darrell. That young man, his first ever start in the Busch East. He won it. His first ever start in the West Series was in Phoenix. He qualified on the outside of the front row. Won that race too. Won the championship for the East Series and Rookie of the Year. Nobody's ever been Rookie of the Year and champion in the same year.
When I first heard of him, of course, I'm sure you know this, Mark Martin, the kid had to only be about 14 years old. Mark was saying, who's the next big deal? Who's the next hot star coming up? Mark time and time again said Joey Logano. Just remember that name. Good call. It was.
Mike Duncan, Matt Kovaluk. This is for 3rd place. There's your lead. With Eichler in 2nd. And here's the race for 3rd.
Interesting backgrounds on these cars that are running toward the front. Joey Logano racing out of Joe Gibbs, where they have all the current technology, all the knowledge in the world. Brian Eichler operating out here at the West Coast, a lot harder to get that technology. Matt Kovaluk operating out of a small garage in the middle of Connecticut. They make a few phone calls now and again to find out what's the hot setup, what should we be doing. Peyton Sellers with his family team, and he's right in there in 5th spot.
That's what makes a race like this so much fun to watch.